warriors. In some systems you may know them as barbarians or fighters, but here they start as warriors. And yes, they do open up as other specializations later on down the line from level 6 onwards, but these other specializations will be covered at a different time, in a different place, in a different video, not here. However, I will just say that these specializations can be taken as talents, and they will allow you to take the type of warrior that you want. And there really are different routes to take that down. Their primary attributes are strength, which is how they do their damage, constitution, which is how they stay alive when being hit, and dexterity, which is an interesting one. It helps to make up their defense, their speed, which is getting adversely affected somewhat by the armor they are wearing, helps them shoot better and use light weapons. But hey, you're a warrior. Why are you going to use light melee weapons? Exactly, you're not. Now, to be fair, they are the most basic of the 3 class types out of the rogue, the mage, and of course the warrior. They don't get any starting abilities like the others do, and by abilities I mean like the rogue's backstab and the mage's arcane lance and sort of mana magic related things they have to do. But they do get access to a vast array of weaponry, so it really is a case of using the right tool for the right job. The others couldn't dream of getting access to all of that toolbox that the warrior can. They are also the most easily accessible for new players because there's a lot less to worry about, a lot less to have to do. They're the most basic and simple of the 3 to pick up and play. Now, warriors can fire ranged weaponry, and it is fair to say, of course, that dexterity is one of their primary attributes. However, the sheer number of melee weapons open to them should really lead you down that line. And also, the fact that the latest specializations that you can start to choose from all lead themselves into being hand-to-hand combat based. None of them are ranged ones. Now, you can either get an idea what those specializations are yourself by researching and checking what content is currently available for the Dragon Age game released by Green Ronin, but of course they have to wait for all of the different content releases to get passed by BioWare as saying, yes, this content is okay, we're happy for you to cover this. Or the other way you could do it is to gain a sort of future sight to more that gets released with more content by having played the computer games, because it is completely following the route of the computer games, and if you've had all the specializations in that, then you'll know roughly what to expect. And that's important, because there's limited choices to make in Dragon Age anyway. And if you're a warrior, you've got less you start with in some respects. So all of the focuses and the talents you choose when you get to choose them, and the fact that the levels do a off-level, on-level, primary and then secondary attributes, you have to choose one and then the other each level. Everything you choose must be supporting towards what you're trying to become. So keep in mind the kind of playstyle you are trying to building into, and if you do know what all of those specializations are, secretly select one. And if at the time you come to build it, then that particular specialization isn't one of the released ones, you can be sure that they are probably going to end up releasing it with one of the later tiers, depending on what time frame we're in when you watch this video. A good example of this would be that if you are a warrior and you wanted to go down the Templar route, and I'm going to break this idea, I'm going to actually talk very lightly about one of the specializations, the Templar, the anti-magic tanking class, then you're going to want to build your magic attribute up because it's got a prerequisite attribute, as an example, of Magic 3, as well as the required other attribute, which is really weird. Magic for a warrior? Who'd have thought it? So on all of your off levels, you would have to have been putting those into magic as your secondary attribute increases. Magic, magic, magic. If you didn't already roll a high enough magic. So it's no good just to have it starting with like a -2 magic, not choosing any magic and then deciding you're going to try and head for Templar when you don't have the magic prerequisite to try and do it. So again, get it in mind. and start early and go for it. I really don't see any reason for you not to actually be playing the computer game either. And if you don't have one of the consoles to play it on, well, it is PC supported as well, so definitely check it out. I've also heard that the PC version of the game is a bit better anyway, with a few more tactical options. Now, a warrior will normally find themselves up in the thick of the action, enclosed on all sides in hand-to-hand combat, surrounded by foes, so he needs a brilliant durability, derived from great health, which comes from the constitution. He needs great defense, which comes from the dexterity, and he needs great armor. So that's where you'll be spending your money to keep up to date. Now remember, armor, which is the most important thing for the class, it's the most armor intensive one, is just one slot. There's not body slots all over. It's just one slot. The armor you're wearing is the armor you're wearing. So there's not hit locations either in this game. So it's quite simple, really, to manage yourself. There's not really a lot of magical gear or superb upgrades around. You know, it just is what it is, and you can get the next type of one up. So they really want to stay up to date and really spend their money on keeping up to date with their armor and getting the best that they can possibly wear that their talents will allow them to without being too adversely affected. A warrior needs to soak up damage from hard-hitting foes, so that other, more easily hurt teammates don't have to be. He can take it, they can't. Now, there's a term you will have heard before in MMO games in particular, and that is tanking. But before you choke in disgust at blatant disregard of this medium and dumbing it down from something that sets itself aside from the left's in-depth games that you'd play online, as you may see it, do you remember that this particular RPG originates from a computer game, which is, yes, it's an offline focused one, but it is party based, so it has concepts of tanking and a tank being in it. Now, the tank is the person that goes in, soaks up the damage, takes the damage, and then the other people can apply damage to the foes, counter damage. The healer, you will usually concentrate their heals on the tank to keep them propped up from all of the damage they are taking. Now, the only thing that is missing in the opening toolset for the warrior is a taunt of some sort, because that is generally what you do, and that, it seems, is what they are trying to lead you towards playing like the computer game. Now, I can see, like, a lot of the people that had criticisms against the D&D 4.0 system, saying, oh, it's a bit like a computer game and this sort of thing. Well, I could see some of those criticisms maybe being put this way too. But hey, you know, it's based on a computer game. I mean, I'm even looking at it that during groups travel across the map, I might get the little red pen out and draw the little line of where they're travelling to. I might even have encounters randomly along the road, just like the computer game. I might even hold up a board with a loading screen on while I check something in a book. So what is a taunt? Well, it's a provocation, a threat. Just something to make somebody who wouldn't have attacked you turn and actually attack you instead. It's a way of saying, well, okay, the guy's going for the mage, that's not good news. He'll probably get one-shot the mage, so quick. Oi, you, bozo with the big nose, try some on your own size. Make a horrible comment about his mother, or make nice comments about his mother-in-law. See what I did there? Now, bear in mind that as Tier 2 comes on, then this ability to be able to taunt, even in an RP sense, with RP stunt lists and things like that, the ability to be able to say to an enemy, hey, try me instead, you're going to get more access to that. So, I don't know if your GM is going to be running some of the Tier 2 box set stunts availability stuff in the Tier 1 scope while you're playing, but I suppose the idea of Tier 1 really is to just get the game going in a more simplified fashion so that everyone can get their bearings first. So it will make more sense when the warrior has that capability, so don't expect him to be able to do it initially. Now you get loads of weapon choices, but you start off the character with 2. You also get another talent, which is armor training, and you start that in novice. Now what the armor training gives you is the ability to not take such a penalty from wearing the heavier types of armor. And of course, once you end up in master of this, then you end up being able to negate some penetrating damage as well, which, of course, penetrating damage normally cannot be negated by armor at all. So that's snazzy, right? So, armor training at novice means that you get to wear all leather and mail armors without taking the penalty to dexterity as you normally would. Because the different armors, they have a penalty, okay? Now this penalty you would normally apply to your dexterity, minus off the dexterity, okay? And speed is derived from dexterity. However, the warrior, because of armor training, only minuses off of his actual speed, okay? It leaves the dexterity attribute, the stat, alone. Now that's good because dexterity creates defense. So just to put you in the picture in this, if you wear light leather, no matter who you are, you get no armor penalty at all. If you wear heavy, you get -1. And then up from there it goes another -1 per one for each armor type. So it goes heavy leather, then light mail, heavy mail, light plate, heavy plate. The warrior himself starts with some heavy leather on. So what our warriors seem to be doing straight away with their opening money that they have generated, their 50+ amount extra silver, is to immediately buy a better armor. So they've been able to afford for example, the light mail. Now the only other thing to point out as they are leveling, because there aren't too many tricks and bells and whistles to go, so you have to really, as I said, pick your focuses and talents very carefully so that you can set yourself aside as unique, is that at level 4 you gain access to a new stunt bonus, which lets you do the dual strike stunt for 1 stunt point less than you normally would. And that's about it, really. So that's it. We'll wrap it there. Does warrior sound like the class for you? What does sound like the class for you? Drop us a comment below. As always, you can see all of the classes linked to on the screen. I hope this has been an informative primer for the warrior class. So until next time we meet, thank you again for tuning in.